Welcome to Last Word. He's Chris Popst. I'm David Jenkins, and we're back again.
Back.
Got some big news this week. A Hall of Fame coach is making his return to the area.
Hashtag Mac is back.
Hashtag, huh?
Hashtag return of the Mac.
Is that still a thing?
Hashtag Big Mac.
Hashtag still a thing?
It's definitely still a thing.
It's not, you know.
Now, doing this is kind of old, but hashtags are still in.
Okay.
For sure. They're not as much as they used to be, but they're still in, for sure.
I'm waiting for them to go away. So
I don't think they're going away anytime soon. So you might be waiting long. But anyway, McFerrin is back. He's back in the area. He's one of the most decorated coaches our area has ever seen. I believe he has 9 state titles.
Hall of Fame
under
coach.
His name. Hall of Fame coach. He is not going back to Charleston or New Madrid. He is going to
Kennett
Indians, and that's a big hire for Kennett. And I know I want to talk a little bit about Lenny's, but I mean, just Kennett, the coaching quality that they have at that school now,
they're tired.
Is one of the top.
They are tired of losing.
Yeah.
They are tired of, they've shown that they are putting everything they can into getting these coaches, and for a long time, they've had good coaches. They had Sam Weaver, who was a college coach who came in there, and he couldn't turn it around. And Jim Vaughn did a great job down there, and he led them to a district title. A lot of Christmas tournaments. I'll tell you, the people that are not liking this right now is, number one, all the teams in Class 3 District 1 and all the teams in the Bluefield Christmas tournament, because now they're like, we're not, we weren't winning this before. Are we going to win
Kent
this?
was already making championship games and winning championships, and now you've had Lenny McFerrin, who just brings a wealth of knowledge, and that it's very exciting because I didn't get the opportunity to see him coach a lot because he coached kind of before my time. But it's very exciting but I've heard a lot of stories about him and the way that he organizes and directs his team, and I'm expecting some good things out of Kennett because they have pieces to do big things. I think with him at the helm. Yeah,
defensively is going to be the key.
Yeah.
Because he's a tremendous defensive coach. Now you kind of wonder, he's been away from the game for a while. How are these kids going to take to it? The fact that he's a Hall of Fame coach is going to help that. But it's a different set of kids, and you can't do things the way you did them years ago. I think Coach Cookson found that out a little bit whenever he came back to Scott Central. Although again, he has the name, so he can get by with a little bit more stuff than what a coach can today. So it'll be interesting to see how that pans out down there in Kennett, and it just makes that district even tougher. We kind of alluded to it last week when we were talking about it, that we kind of had heard this was going to happen, and that just makes that district just absolutely brutal.
Oh yeah, and it was already brutal before, and it's just I don't know. You got Kennett, Charleston, New Madrid, and Caruthersville, and it's just who knows. I mean, I fully expect how fun is it going to be to have Kennett and Charleston in that final with Lenny's coaching his former team, who he just rose from to the heights that Charleston had been over the last.
I don't think Crowsville wants to hear that. I think Crowsville wants to say, "Hey, we're the defending champion. You got to come through us."
They are, but I think that they do have a shot for sure. But yeah, when you talk about Charleston though in a district champion or district playoff, they're one of the tops. They're in that. They find themselves in that game. And you had Lenny McFerrin coaching Kennett, who's coming from a tougher Class 4 District 1, who had a good showing, and I think in that district, it just. I'm glad I'm not one of the coaches. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and I think elsewhere, the Class 4 District 1's like, thank goodness they dropped down. That just they didn't need a Kennett team that was going to make a run. And they did. The Kennett had some good teams with Coach Vaughn, and they just never could get over the top in Class 4. I think in Class 3 they can, and. Charleston, they have that string of district titles that's in jeopardy, and it's it's gonna, if they get one, whoever gets this district this next year is going to earn it.
For sure, and it's set up. I don't really know the path as far as that goes, what everybody's coming back, but a lot of times the team that comes out of our Class 1 or District 1 or District 2 at least sees a sectional, at least.
Right. They'll get the sectional, and they'll get I think probably quarterfinal. Saxony's kind of there in the way, they'll be the sectional opponent. More than likely, if things hold up as they are today. A lot of move-ins can happen, a lot of transfer, a lot of things can happen between now and then. But if just looking at it right now, it would look like Saxony being that's a tough sectional. So
I would think so. I said sectional. I meant quarterfinal. See, it's still like Wednesday's like a Monday for me. I'm sorry.
It's early.
It is. And you had twins to mix, and not a lot of sleep, and it just goes all the way. Just there you go. Cheeks loves it.
Yeah. What else you want to talk about?
I stayed up kind of late, kind of watching the Blues game last night.
I did as well.
That's fun. I'm not much of a hockey fan.
Clear the puck.
That's about the only term I know. Icing, 5 for fighting. That was a band. That's the only thing I know. High sticking. Stuff like that.
The guy named Shaw from the Blackhawks. Is there a bigger turd in all of hockey that I don't watch that much, but my goodness, he was
from the reaction on Twitter and all the social media sites. This is nothing new to him to act like this, but he kind of went over the edge, obviously, with his antics and what he was supposedly said.
I mean, wow, he was just something else.
And the thing, like I said, I don't watch a lot of hockey, but the Blues guy gets run into the goalie, and the goalie insinuates the fight, but the Blackhawks get the power play. I did not understand that at all.
But I notice a lot of calls going against the Blues, and I enjoy watching hockey live. I'm not a big person to watch hockey, on television, but I did watch this game, and I don't understand. I'm just completely clueless as to the calls. But at the same time, I kept screaming at the end, clear the puck. They had a 2-goal lead, clear the puck. Yeah. Just get it out of there.
Yeah, and I think there was in the last 2 minutes. I think one of those guys they took a shot. Yeah. I was like, no, you're only up by 1 now, and they obviously took away a late goal there with offsides. It was offsides. It just kind of seems when they make close calls like that, Blues fans
never seems to go the Blues way.
Never seems to go their way for sure. But they're up 3-1. They're in a very prime position. I know enough about the Blues anyway to know that they haven't been in this position a lot.
Yeah, they're playoff stricken. They just don't do well in the playoffs, and it seems like they make the playoffs every year. They just don't do well once they get there. So I would like to see them. This could be. It's kind of lately the last few years. It's kind of teams that haven't been there before. Your Red Sox. Your teams that haven't been there before. Now they're starting to make their runs and make their. Maybe this is a Blues chance. It's open.
I like when different teams make their run. And of course, if it's going to be anybody, I'd rather be the St. Louis Blues.
And St. Louis is due a little bit of. They're due a little bit because the Cardinals aren't looking that great. Against the Cubs, they're not looking that great, but. The Rams move out of town. It gives the Blues, gives St. Louis something to hang their hat on a little bit right now.
I agree. And for them to finish off the Blackhawks, who are the defending champions of the NHL, for them to finish them off would be a great signature series win. Now, what I worry about is them pulling off the most bluesiest move ever and loses 3-1 lead and lose a series. That's very possible.
We aren't going to talk about that.
just going by.
That's a Washington Capitals.
Like I said, I don't know. I know enough about the Blues to know that's a possibility.
It doesn't happen a lot. That's a Washington. That's what the Washington Capitals. I know enough about. That's what they seem to do a lot. Is lose those 3-1 leads, and you don't 3-1 leads are not safe at all when you're the Capitals. But so hopefully the Blues can get past and then get to the next round and hopefully a lot further.
We'll hope so. But anyway, we'll stick with St. Louis, and we mentioned the Cardinals. As of right now, of the filming of this show, they are sitting at the 500 mark. They're 7-7. Just lost the first 2 games of the Cubs of the season. Cubs are just putting up runs and playing some good baseball, like a lot of people expected. Cardinals are just seem to be kind of average. They don't put up. They had a stretch there where they put up maybe 64 runs in like 3 or 4 games. I mean, that was a good stretch, but then all of a sudden they just go cold, and that's not good.
Here's some knowledge for you. The Cubs are ahead of the 1927 Yankees pace. They have a better record than they did at this time, and more runs, bigger run differential. Just going to throw that out there. The Cubs get a lot of publicity and everything, and everybody talks about how good they are. Well, they are. They're better than the 1927 Yankees right now.
Yeah, you hear that, the cry.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's a long season, and St. Louis is kind of they're just we said it a couple weeks ago. They just, to me, they don't have the feel of a playoff team. They are just there's something not there. Wainwright's struggling. How Matt Adams can stay on the team, I don't know. Bernie Miklasz, people remember him from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. He calls it the St. Louis Scholarship, the Cardinal Scholarship. Each year they have one person on the team that has no business being there. It had been Pete Cosman for a couple of years. Now it's Matt Adams. I don't know how. I don't know.
I think you're right. And as far as that, just the pitching doesn't seem to be there, like you said, and and you can't have these offensive spells like they have, just not scoring runs. And I may be a little new-fashioned, but I'd rather have a team that scores a lot of runs than a great pitching staff. And right now, the Cardinals just have average on both, to be honest with you.
I like the pitching. I like having good pitching because I think that'll get you a long way. The Cardinals just strike out too much. Yeah. I mean, they get people on base and they strike out. They can't move them over. Matheny refuses to bunt people over. He refuses to. I personally, I know this is going to go against what a lot of people think. My mother is going to be absolutely irate. I don't think Matheny is a very good manager. Yeah. I just really don't. I don't like the decisions he makes. I don't like the way he handles some of the players, and that's just me personally. What do I know? There's just something missing from this team, and they need a kickstart some way, somehow, or the Cubs are going to run away with it.
Yeah. Speaking of running away with things, in the NBA playoffs, I think when you look at the teams across the board, especially now with the West and the East, they're kind of matching up against each other. Is there anybody other than maybe the Spurs that can knock off the Warriors for 4 games?
No. My Grizzlies are dead.
Yeah, they're not looking good. Of course, they had the torture of drawing the Spurs in the first round.
Matt Barnes, who is not my favorite player, had a quote last night after the game that he said, we're coming to a gunfight with a bunch of spoons. My poor Grizzlies. No, I don't think that. I don't. When it gets late in the game, it seems like Oklahoma City goes to they play hero ball. It's just we're just gonna whoever has the ball is gonna take it to the basket. And I don't see anybody else. The Clippers series, that would be a fun series just because they hate each other. Yeah. But I don't think the Clippers have enough to beat them. And I've not seen anything out of anybody in the East that could hang with Golden State.
Yeah, I haven't either. And the thing on the West that's intriguing is you have teams like the Spurs and the Thunder and the Clippers. And the Clippers are finally healthy. That makes them intriguing. I don't think they have enough to overtake a Thunder or Spurs or Warriors for that matter. But when you talk about the Thunder, that hero ball, that's kind of Westbrook's game. That's kind of been a knock on him for a while, but that's kind of his game. He's at his best when he does that, but when he's not on, it gives the impression that he's just kind of taken over, and at times maybe he does do a little too much, but that's his game. That's when he makes those shots and does those impressive things. It's like, oh man, look at that guy. It's just one of those things.
Right. I really don't care much for the NBA during the regular season, other than the Grizzlies. I follow it, but I don't watch a lot of games. But I really look forward to the NBA playoffs as a time where I can really kind of watch it. But it's been terrible so far. I'm ready for him. I'm ready to go in the second. I want to see him play round of 3. I want to see the best of 3, then best of 5, and then the best of 7 in the final 2. That's what I want to see.
Best of 3. So he was 2 in the first round. Yeah, it used to be 5.
Used to be 5. I want to see best of 3. Then best of 5, and then we don't play into August because I don't like 4-month-long playoffs. So.
That's true. I think I don't know if I'd want to see 3. Back to 5 would be a good switch for me, and then go to 7 and 7, and then of course the finals. But yeah, the first round. Let's get this out done and over with, and let's get to some conference finals.
Well, hopefully we will not have a show next week. We're going to have a week off. Charles is going to go to Vegas and win us some money. So we'll be off next week, but we'll be back in 2 weeks on The Last Word.